Hello, this is Tony Heller from RealClimateScience.com, talking about the endless summer of science in New York. 15 years ago, the New York Times announced the endless summer due to global warming. They said, "It's not like I don't like 60-degree days and eating fresh spinach right out of my garden in December, but the extended growing season is one of the signs of global warming. It goes hand in hand with polar bears dying in the Arctic as the sea ice shrinks." Wow, we really messed the climate up this time. And then in 2014, the New York Times announced the end of snow. If the New York Times said these things, they must be true. They are the paper of record after all. Except that 5 of the 10 largest snowstorms in New York City's history have occurred since the beginning of 2006. The largest snowstorm in New York occurred in 2016. The second largest was 2006. The fifth largest occurred in 2010. The seventh largest occurred in 2010. And the ninth largest occurred this week 10 years ago. The New York Times wasn't just wrong about snow, but they were also wrong about cold. In 2018, New York City had their coldest New Year's Eve in a century. I was in Washington, D.C. that week, and everything was frozen solid. These people were ice skating in front of the Lincoln Memorial. That's something which doesn't happen very often. It doesn't look much like an endless summer to me. The New York Times also said in 2006 that polar bears were dying in the Arctic as the sea ice shrinks. There's no evidence that either of those claims are true. Polar bear populations are doing quite well, and since the start of 2006, there's been no trend in Arctic sea ice extent. This graph shows Arctic sea ice extent for almost every day since January 1st, 2006. We see seasonal variations, but there's no long-term trend. The New York Times has no clue what they're talking about, and it appears that this week New York may get another top 10 snowfall. Forecasters are predicting up to 22 inches of snow by Tuesday in New York City. I'm guessing that this guy isn't eating fresh spinach out of his garden right now. The good news, though, is that Governor Cuomo of New York listens to the science. And 1 year ago, as the state was about to be ravaged by COVID-19, Governor Cuomo was focused on very important things. He announced legislation to make the fracking ban permanent in New York State. What a great idea by Governor Cuomo. Shut down the state's oil and gas revenue permanently right before he shut down the rest of the state's economy. He managed to create 20% unemployment in New York City and caused massive flight of money and talent to Florida and other states. Then the governor put his science skills to good use again by sending more than 6,000 COVID cases into nursing homes. COVID-19 is a disease which primarily kills people over 65 years old, and Governor Cuomo sent thousands of sick people into the most vulnerable population. Governor Cuomo succeeded in creating the highest death rate in the world, and then he tried to cover up the evidence. He deleted the order which forced nursing homes to admit coronavirus patients, and then he lied about it to the press. And not surprisingly, he also lied about the number of elderly people whom he killed. In a sane world, this guy would be investigated for crimes against humanity. But in our world, we get something completely different. For all of his deadly incompetence, which killed thousands of old people and killed the New York economy, Time magazine nominated him as Person of the Year. This is the endless summer in New York, where they listen to the science. Toto's been pulling back the curtain on this sort of insanity for the past 13 years, and he's never surprised by anything anymore. You can visit him and Kyrie on the web at realclimatescience.com.